Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud till there's no more left in that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud till there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L, ripping that star, I do it so well. It's Puma on the toes, but the stars on the clothes. I'm Starboy, fresh at the DF Dub. Yeah, I'm a hard hitter. Don't stare to fit, it'll ego hit you. What is you saying, man? Look at the swag. Please do forgive the brag. I'ma pull up later in the Cowboy Jag. Don't you slip on the drip, I'm flossing the sauce. Go so hard for the star. Yeah, that be win, lose, or draw. If you take a L, get the F off my block. Cowboys win. Watch yours, pull up the shots. Really can't help it, got a star status. Even got it tatted on my arm. Yes, we be 5 green strong. Left a little room cause it's quest for the SIDS. Starboy really reppin' this shit. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud until there's no more left in ya. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me.
Yeah, tell me who the #1 fan. Yeah, Mr. Westside, I'm the man. Dallas Cowboys from my head to the toes. They better recognize who the fuck I am. Damn, haters run their mouth like a bitch when they team ain't shit and my team stay lit. Yeah, I'm about to rep this shit till the day I die in an all blue casket. If you wanna get with a club with love, tell Star Status Westside sent ya. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Emmett Smith is our main. Game time, prime time, all the time. Your team ain't never on TV like mine. That's because we different. We America's team and we run this. Like Zeke runs circles right at defense. Jerry Jones, that's nonsense. Let the coaches coach. And I'll have a smoke. And I know y'all wanna toast to that.
Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud until there's no more left in ya. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. Dallas Cowboys to the death from that. I'ma keep ripping loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well. DC, that B4L.
What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, and we are live in the building, man. Man, if you guys have been rocking with your boy West Coast, you guys know this guy below me, you know what I'm saying? And if you've been a Cowboy fan, you know this guy behind you, you know what I'm saying? All he really got to do is just turn your head like this, Jesse, and then flip hit the hair like this, because I think that's what the doing. When he was there you go. There you go. Romo drops back. Holly goes across the side. He catches it. He's going. Hachi. The Braves is gone.
No. Finish it.
Nah, I ain't gonna do him like that because he got done.
Hey, he did actually accomplish what's on his shirt. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
you know, we're going to get into that story so you guys can hear that story from my perspective. A lot of people haven't heard just my perspective from that day, from that moment. Like there's a long story, not a long story, but there's an interesting story that goes with that whole play, that whole day, that whole game that I think we'll get into at some point in time today.
Well, shoot, man, to be honest with you, I mean, I like to kind of go like in chronological. That's my big word for the day, chronological. So let's start there. I mean, because I think that's kind of, to be honest with you, that's not really where you burst on the scene. I mean, if you guys do your homework, you'll know that Jesse was a really, really highly recruited kid coming out of. Hey, can I ask you a question? Why is there so many wide receivers coming out of that area? Because y'all had the Jerry from I'm a USC fan. And I think we done got at least 9 wide receivers from that area. And we got
we all play basketball. No, literally, we all play basketball.
All right.
If you go back, I got a picture and I'll tweet it to you. I have a picture. Me and Dwayne Jarrett, we're in the same picture for like All State.
Yeah, that's
We're in the same, like, so a lot of the receivers, like, that's all, like, literally, and there are any parents listening who have young children, hear me and hear me well. Let your kids play multiple sports. Don't, and if there is a coach that is telling your kid or telling you that he or she should only play one sport, grab your gym bag and run the opposite way away from him ASAP. Yeah. ASAP. Michael Jordan played 2 sports. I mean, I'm talking about before NBA. He played football. He played football. LeBron played football. AI played football. I mean, multi-sport athlete. There's a bunch of quarterbacks who played basketball. Tony Romo was Mr. Wisconsin with Karan Butler. Multiple sports make better athletes. And so to your point, in Jersey, a lot of us receivers, we play basketball, and the same things apply to run, to catch, to jump. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was like,
boxing out.
Because I ain't gonna, hey, boss, you know, I'm a SC fan, and it almost seemed, I think for like 3 straight wide receivers, it almost seemed like no Jersey, like, it literally. I don't even think I stopped even paying attention to whatever actual city or it was, but it's like because Jersey is not that big. Like, I think Whitney Houston came up out of there too, so it's like it's like for a little area so small. And for what it produced, you know, it's kind of fascinating. Someone should do a documentary on that. Yeah. Because I never, I would have never even thought. That's why I was like, I gotta ask him about that. But busting on the scene in that, let's just start with that day, because if I'm not mistaken, like going into that game where you slated, and this is Cowboys versus 49ers, Cowboys we were in San Francisco for this game. So, I mean, my question to you is, going into that day, did you know that you were going to be being, have a role in the game? Or, I mean, did you know that,
Yeah. So here's the thing, coming into that game, if you remember, this is week 2. Week 1, we open up on 9/11. This is September 18th. In San Francisco. Week 1, we open up 9/11 in New York / New Jersey against the Jets, right? They have the 9/11 ceremony. It was great. Darrelle Revis versus Des Bryant, all the hoopla. Revis ended the game on an interception that Tony took the blame for. That wasn't his fault. That's a whole other story.
Really?
That was a whole other story. That wasn't his fault at all. But Des in that game hurt his quad. And so he was a game time decision, didn't practice all week. This one you had Miles Austin and guys like that. And so all week long, myself, Miles, Kevin Ogletree, Dwayne Harris, I'm in the starting lineup when we're talking about 11 personnel, right? So I'm in the mix all week long. So moments before the game, I'm standing in the training room, I'm going over some last minute things with Kevin Ogletree. And at the time, the wide receiver coach comes in there and he says, like, he's not even looking at me, but he's talking about me to Kevin. And he's like, hey, Kevin, change of plans. In 11 personnel, you're going to go to H and Dwayne's going to go to Z. And so everybody would call me either Hollywood or Holly Grove. And so Kevin's like, well, what's up? Where Holly Grove going to go? And so he's like, oh, don't worry about it. Just be ready. And so at that moment, I'm hurt. Like, I'm really, really, really hurt now. Like, when I say I'm hurt, my feelings are hurt, because I'm like, what more do I have to show y'all? Like, you put a kid, and Dwayne, nothing against Dwayne, but he wasn't ready. Like, he didn't know what the hell was going on. Always messed up in practice. No shade on Dwayne. I'm not throwing shade on him. I'm just speaking what was factually happening at that point in time. So I'm so frustrated to the point where I'm crying in the pregame. Like, pregame warm-ups, if there's a shot of me in pregame, my eyes are, I'm crying because I'm so upset. So we come back in before we go out for the final, game time. And John Kitna, my good friend and my brother, who I love to death, he comes up to me and he goes, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, man, what do I gotta do? Kick the shoulder. I'm really ready for this moment. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, nobody prepares harder than me. Nobody works harder than me. I'm ready to go. He's like, you got a uniform on? I said, yes. He said, are you going to be playing today? I said, yes. He said, then you have an opportunity to make an impact on this game. I said, cool. I put that aside. I go out there and play, and the game is happening. And it's a back and forth game. Now, remember, this was the Niners team that eventually went to the Super Bowl. Okay, this was a good football team, and it's back and forth, back and forth. Jason Witten's balling, Miles Austin is balling, Romo's balling, you know, and I'm just doing my thing on special team. But as things is happening throughout the course of the game, Dwayne is messing up, boom, messing up all game, lining up wrong, running the wrong route, running it too short, running it too deep. So Tony goes out, John Kitna comes in, and Tony makes this miraculous comeback. Now, at that moment, we knew he broke ribs. We did not know he punctured a lung. There was no way to tell. So he comes back and he's doing this thing. So we get into the fourth quarter and this game is tight. And finally, Dwayne messes up and I can hear, because I'm standing right next to our wide receiver coach. And I can hear him on the headset screaming like, get Dwayne the F out of there. That's it. Get him out. Get Holley in. So I go in. And most people think the 77-yard play was like the biggest play. To me, it wasn't. There was 2 key third downs that led to us getting to overtime that I caught. And one of them was damn near like at the top of my shoestrings. And I had to go down there and pluck it up. We don't get those third downs. We're talking about now either punting or trying to get it on fourth down. But I remember telling Tony a couple plays before, like, listen, Tony, they playing me outside and off the slant stare. Boom, Tony checked to it, banged us 2 times. So now we get into overtime. And they're up first. If they score, they win. So we stopped them, and now they get ready to punt. And so now I'm playing back the conversation I had in my head with John Kitna. He's like, yo, you have an opportunity to impact this game. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm about to block this punt, right? And scoop and score, game over, I'm the hero. And then Coach Jody goes, punt safe. We're not blocking anything. I'm like, damn, there go my shot. So we punt it, we get the ball back, and, you know, of course, we're 78 yards away, I should say. We're 78 yards away after the punt. Tony comes into the huddle, he's limping. Let me rewind. Back it up. Before we went into overtime, the last play before we kicked the field goal to send it into overtime, Miles comes into the huddle and he's like, I'm done. I can't run no more. My hamstrings are shot. So he didn't even play the overtime. He wasn't even ready to play the overtime because he's on the sideline with his hamstring. So I'm like, man, we don't have Miles. We don't have Dez. What the hell are we going to do? We get the overtime. We get the ball back. We're in the huddle. I'm standing right next to Tony Romo because I'm like, I want to hear everything he has to say. This place is jumping, right? This place is, Levi Stadium is jumping. So he comes in, he leans in, and I can hear the call. Jason Garrett calls, in Jason Garrett fashion, 585 Harveys. It is one of the basic and simple plays that people have called out us running many, many times. It is so simple. It's a staple in his offense, and it probably would have gotten the reception, maybe, possibly, but it was so just simple. Tony shakes his head and he goes, he goes, all right, here we go. F it. Let's go win this game. And he begins to call the play.
Love it, man.
He begins to call this play, and he calls a run play, and he goes, it's a run play first, and then it's kill to Z Poker. Now, Z Poker is an all or nothing play. It's either you make this play happen or throw it out of bounds, and we live to see second down. He calls Z Poker, but now, in order for us to run Z Poker, we have to get the right coverage. If it's 2 high safeties, we're probably going to run the ball, okay? But as the safeties begin to shift, right? You start seeing the safety sit, and then you hear Tony go, kill, 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 kill. And I'm like, oh, snap, this ball is coming to me. And we run the play, and, you know, it comes, and now we're running. I'm going to be honest with y'all. So I catch the ball, and I'm running. Now, this particular day was a really hot day. In San Francisco in mid-September.
Which is unheard of.
Right, and I was playing a couple more snaps I'm used to playing. I ran out of gas, personally. And I'm like, I remember running and like, oh snap, I've reached top speed. Like I knew there wasn't any more. Like I didn't have another gear to go to. There was no more gears to go to. I was like, that's it. I hope that whoever's chasing me stops. Like I hope he just gives up. But I can hear Dante Whitner, like, I can hear him breathing like, and I'm like, damn. So now in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm at top speed. So everything else from here is downhill. So I'm hoping that I'll meet this end zone before he meets me, right? And people say that I was celebrating at the end. No, I'm trying to do Stretch Armstrong. I'm trying to figure out if I can just put this thing forward and fall forward, that it'll go into the end zone. Now, here is the interesting part of this story. I was never supposed to score. Scoring that day was never supposed to happen to me. And you made reference to my shirt early on. Real men worship the Lord unashamed. A part of my story is my first time in the National Football League as a rookie in the National Football League with the Cincinnati Bengals. I was given a gift by God to go into the National Football League and be a change agent. And I did everything that I was not supposed to do. I was flying girls in and out of airports. I was partying. I was hanging out. He gave me a gift and I didn't take advantage of it. So I lost everything. I made everything about me instead of making everything about him. So when I got in that moment, and if you know anything about how the Lord works, he's going to test you again. No matter what, you're going to get that test again. And in that moment, it was, when you have success again, will you praise you like you did before, or will you praise me? Now, fast forward back to the game. If I score a touchdown, the game is over. Everyone mobs the field, everyone covers me up, all that kind of stuff. You can't see me do what I did. Because when I go down at the 1 yard line, every camera in that stadium is panned on who? Me. And what is the one thing that you see me do? The first thing I did was I threw my hands up, and if you listen to the audio, you hear me saying, "Glory to God." You hear me saying, "I'm not worthy. Thank you, Jesus. Glory." I'm crying it. I'm screaming the whole time down, and the camera has to watch me. You're talking about being on the most visible, recognizable team in all of sports. And for those 3 minutes, the camera didn't leave me. So there was somebody across the nation in that stadium that was watching that game who understood exactly what that was. And God knew exactly what it was. It was giving my biggest moment to him. And so that's why people say, well, you should have scored. I was never meant to score. That was a moment that was set up for God to get the glory. And I'm so glad I did what my body just naturally did, didn't go, it's about me, back of the jersey, look, Jay Holley. It was like, nah, it was like, glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. So that's my story from that play. 77 yards to glory. It was, you hear Brad Sham on the call, oh, it must be a reality TV show. No, that was my moment. That was God showing me that everything that you've been through, you're the only player in NFL history to ever get to the NFL from a reality TV show.
Only.
Where even the odds then was stacked against you, because you came to training camp as the 80th man on the training camp roster, never looking at a playbook until the day you got there. I didn't have OTAs or mini camp. I didn't have a playbook, none before that. I didn't get the playbook until the day I stepped foot in San Antonio. Now, you know how hard it is to not see a playbook, to not be there in the offseason, to not be there for any workouts, to not be there for any meetings, to not be a guy that any of the coaches actually brought in and still make the team. That ain't a Jesse thing. That's a higher power than Jesse.
Yeah. I mean,
one thing real quick, Jesse.
Go ahead, Bob.
You also talked about on the other show, the Late Night Hype, your background.
Yeah.
And and you gave more background that a lot of people might not know, because some people might watch us and watch them, and some people watch both. Mm-hmm. But the background was kind of like also was the reason behind your praise. Can you go into that a little bit? I already heard it, but I think that's also important to see what really, because you talked about flying and stuff and kicking it, but it was also some hard times that made you so humble.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, and people know my story. Like, I come from a very poor background. I'm in the middle of 3 boys, raised by my grandmother. She made less than $40,000 a year. One thing I didn't tell them, but I'll tell you guys: my mother was a drug addict. My father was a drug dealer. So I didn't have either one of them in my life or my brother's life from jump. And so having to grow up in that type of atmosphere, and we all know the statistics coming from our communities, right? And someone who is no mom, no dad, who parents make less than $40,000 a year, you stand in the hood, your percentages the percentage of me going to a Division I university was lower than me going to prison or the morgue.
Right.
That's insane, right? Think about how insane that is. If you did percentages, if from where I come from, the percentage of me going to a Division I university, not even graduating, not even making to the NFL, just getting there is lower than me in my circumstances going to jail or the morgue. That's higher. That is that's absurd. So, going through that and then having that situation, be a part of my upgrading. And there is times where it could have went, either way. When I was younger, I'm from Jersey. We stole cars. That was our form of, that was our form of crime coming up in my era. We stole cars. It wasn't, I come from an era, it wasn't no guns. It wasn't really much gangs or anything like that. We stole cars. Some people did a little drug dealing, but my vice of choice at that time, the crew that I rode with, we get your car quick. We take a Honda like a 2-minute drill. It's quick. You look up and that Honda gone. So just going through that, having that type of situation happen in your life, and then getting to the NFL and then having everything taken away, everything taken away to where I was homeless.
Yeah,
living on a futon. Now I went from being an NFL player. Six to 9 months later, I'm broke. I don't have a dime to my name. I'm living on a friend's futon. Thank God she let me stay on her futon rent free. And I'm working nights as a security guard. I'm the flashlight cop. I see you.
Yep, the mall cop. I'm
the mall cop at night, and then I'm working at a T-Mobile in the daytime, and I'm training between the two, right? And I'm doing that's what I'm doing. Like when I say I was broke, like there's a difference between being rich broke. Like when you hear like rich people say, "Oh, we're filing for bankruptcy and we're broke," that means they got like $10-15 million left. Like I wasn't rich people broke. Like I was broke people broke. Like to the point where I was like, I had a little shorty, and she let's go to the movies. I'm like, all right, cool. Cause I was lying to everybody. I'll tell everybody I got workouts lined up. Or I'm gonna be back. I had no workouts lined up and I ain't had no money. I used to call my ATM, the back of my little ATM card, and be like, to see how much money I had in there. This is before all the mobile banking and all that kind of stuff. You gotta call a number on the back. And they'd be like, you have $27.32. I'm like, I got enough for 2 tickets. Won't be no popcorn. Won't be no bears.
Hey, what you do? Hit that.
Won't be no Raisinets. Won't be none of that. You ain't get no slushy. You're not getting none of that. Won't be no after date dinner. None of that. You're gonna get these 2 movie tickets in my company, and that's it. It's having to go through all of that, to get back to that moment. And it was, people say,
that's where the praise came from.
That's where the praise came from, because I've been through so much. It was like this was God's way of showing me I can do any and everything, and I don't need your help to do it, and I can make it my own conventional way to where when people hear about your story, they know that ain't a human story. Like this, again, I'm the only player in where we going in this year? What 50, 60 years in the National Football League or something like that? Something crazy?
Now we just celebrated 100 years.
How many years we have in the National Football League? There's only one player who's done it the way that I've done it. And that was a God thing. That was God saying, let me show you how real I am, and let me show present in your life. I'm not trying to make this a church service, but that's just my story,
Yeah,
and I absolutely real quick, and I absolutely love. I absolutely love it because I think that the story is, my mom always says that your testimony is not for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't share your testimony, then you're actually being selfish. You know what I'm saying? Because your story is not meant for you to go through it. That He didn't put us on this world to be for one entity. But you said something. When you were saying when you were talking about Tony Romo, that kind of pricked my story. Kind of prick my soul a little bit, Jesse. You know what I'm saying? It kind of pricked my soul. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing I love about Jesse is the first time I really I seen him play, but the first time I seen Jesse on talk, because that's 2 different people. I'm gonna be honest with you. Phil Jesse's one. I think talking Jesse, blogging Jesse is 2 different persons, because the first time I saw Jesse running, I was like, dang man, he's nice. He gonna play a long time. The first time I heard Jesse on the radio, I was like, dang, man, he's nice. They're going to fire him. Jesse say whatever the hell Jesse want to say. I'm saying, like, literally, that was the first thing.
I got fired.
Like, hey, like, I'm just being 100. Like, I'm just being 100. Like, the first thing I said, I was like, dang. Like, am I lying to you, boss? I was like, yo, Jesse is nice, but I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Jesse ain't going to last long. Because Jesse came out and said, I ain't gonna say the exact word, but like, man, like I thought, because I was thinking like this when we were going through the times, and I remember when it was after week 4 too, because you were one of the first people in the media that not necessarily openly criticized Jason Garrett, but kind of called that play calling, you know, before it got bad. You know what I'm saying? Like before it was obvious week 11. You know what I'm saying? But come, you know, week 3, week 4, everybody's, oh yeah, we just lost. It was just a little hiccup. And I remember the show that you went on there and you said it's a fraud. And I remember that. I called boss and I was like, yo, because you know, we had just interviewed you at SportsCon. So I was like, yeah, we call you OG. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, OG about to get fired, cuz. Because I was like, bro, you can't say that. Like, boss, am I lying? I was like, bro, you can't.
Well, I'll say this, man, because you know, Jesse is assertive, and the definition of assertive is somebody who doesn't mind making their opinions known publicly. And that type of attitude to some, in my opinion, is not welcome. Exactly. But at the same time, what I also noticed, because I really want us, after we get through, you know, what we're talking about now, Jesse has one of the best forecast minds in the business. And when I say forecast, the ability to predict the future. Like, I went back and looked at the interview that we had with you in SportsCon. Man, you hit on every point almost. I think like 90%. And like, we're going to kind of go through it a little bit just because I want us to kind of go forward based on where we left off. But I just think West Coast is not welcome sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, that's when I saw that, I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the same time, you know what it did? It gave me some drive, because I was like, yo, I'm that guy that's going to put his foot in his mouth over the truth. Like, yeah, my bad. I Kanye Wested. I didn't say it the right way, but I was right what I said though, right? The information that came out of my mouth was still correct.
That's the thing about me is, and I'm going to be Jesse.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I know how to be. That's all who I want to be. And I said this the other day. I in my bedroom, my master bathroom, I have this really big mirror, fellas. It's really, really big. And I walk by it often. And I'm always to the point where I have to be okay with the person that's staring back at me. And if I get on your show or any other show on Twitter and I start being something that I'm not, and I had to walk past that mirror, and I don't like the person that I've become, or I'm ashamed of not being who I was, that's when I have a problem. So I'm okay. I'm always okay with being fired for saying the truth. And that's okay. That is literally okay. If the truth is what and that's in any profession. It ain't just in sports. If you're fired for the truth, then that's not what you're supposed to be. That's just what it is. And I'm just a firm believer that I'm never going to I'm never going to slander a man. I'm never going to falsely slander anyone. I'm never going to falsely criticize anyone. I'm never going to falsely shatter someone's character. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to call the spade the spade. And anyone who knows me personally knows that's exactly who Jesse is. And you love me for it or you hate me for it. There is no gray area with me. People that love me, love me. People that hate me, 100% hate me. But they hate me because I tell the truth. Not they hate me because I tell lies or I fabricate stories or I make things up about them. And I'm okay with both sides of the fence. If you hate me, cool. Stay over there. Stay way over there. If you love me, thank God that you love me. I appreciate you. But I'm a straight shooter. That's because I want it to be done to me that way. Don't sugarcoat it to me, because I ain't gonna sugarcoat it to you.
I got something for you real quick.
Do I have a witness here? I really don't know what you're going through this morning.
Hey, Ross.
Yeah, and so
hold on, one, because I got. Hold up.
I'm glad that I serve a God who has already fought my battle. Do I have a witness there?
So you said you gonna just tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? And since we is unsyndicated, we still looking for a sponsor, but we is unsyndicated, so we good. We just gonna ask some straight questions, Jason, and we gonna start it off right here, and then we just gonna go back and forth until you get to the point where you're like, I can't answer that. I can't. Then we'll stop. And then actually we'll ask one more question after you say I can't answer no more questions. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure.
as we always do.
First question, man. Random fire question. I just want to know, first off the top of your head, why did the Dallas Cowboys go 8-8 with a Dallas Cowboy quarterback having one of the best seasons statistically from a Dallas Cowboy quarterback?
The leadership was bad. Period. You have the most talented roster in all of football. Your leadership is bad. You had people. First of all, you had a lame duck coach in charge, right? So this is a guy who didn't have a contract, who you kind of almost forced Kellen Moore on him. That wasn't a Jason Garrett. Trust me, that wasn't welcomed well by Jason Garrett. That wasn't at all, because you don't want to give me a contract, but you want to give the rookie young boy an opportunity to go out there with my neck on the line. Wait a second, time out. You want this kid? You want the kid who has zero offensive play calling experience. I don't care how many years you played quarterback. That ain't the same seat. It ain't the same situation. It ain't the same scenario. It takes a different level of person to sit on the sideline or sit in the booth and be ready to call plays in sequence and feel the rhythm of the game. That takes experience. You just don't do that off the cuff, right? People say, well, what about McVay and other guys? They had opportunities where they were kind of honing up their skills. Kellen Moore didn't hone up skills. He went from being a backup straight to calling plays. And now my job is dependent upon him. So that was the first thing. The second thing is there was zero accountability. And this has been the biggest thing when it comes to Jason Garrett-led teams. He tried to say that, we hold each other accountable. You don't, because guys were able to go out there. You can't have the same speech every game and say, we have to execute better. We have to execute better. We have to execute better. If they're not executing and you're still putting them on the field, it's on you. Yeah. It's on you. If your kids keep cussing in the house and you don't correct them, and then they go and cuss at school to teachers, you can't be mad. How you mad at them now? You let it go down at the house. So now you upset that they cussed at school or they cussed the teacher out, but you let them cuss you out at home. You can't have both. You can't have it both ways. So it was poor leadership from Jason Garrett. And I'm not piling on him, but you are the head. And when you're the head, you take responsibility. If guys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then here's the thing about the National Football League. It's a locker room full of alpha males. And the first thing we're able to sniff out as alpha males is bullcrap. Once we figure out that you're a bullcrap, or you're not a man of your word, or you phony or whatever, you lose respect. And now I stop really going as hard as I possibly can for you. You see guys who wholeheartedly love their coach, whether it be their position coach or their head coach. As crazy it may sound, you put a little bit more into it because that guy is your leader.
Right.
When you hear the term, run through a wall for him, that's a real thing. I had a team coach named Joe D. Camillus. And me and Jody had such a good relationship when Jody would be like, listen, here's your assignment this week. See that 300-pound dude? I need you to stop him. I'm like, Jody, I'm 210 pounds. He goes, I know. Let's figure it out together. So it didn't matter whether I was mismatched. It was, you know what? He's dependent on me. I'm dependent on him. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to lay it on the line against this dude who we both know I'm overmatched, but I'm going to go out there and do what I got to do. And guys didn't do that for Jason Garrett. And because when you turn on the film and everybody's watching and guys are seeing, well, he ain't doing what he's supposed to do. And you heard Jason Garrett start throwing folks under the bus like week 14, 15, when he started saying, well, we got a lot of guys out here kind of freelancing doing their own thing. Well, that just didn't start week 15. Guys don't start freelancing week 15, 14. Nah, guys been doing this all along. You see the end in near. So now you start to say, you going a little Tekashi on folks now. You start to say, it ain't me, it ain't me, it ain't me, it ain't me, it ain't me. But you're the leader of this group, so it is on you.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something you said last year. I asked you this question because I just got through talking to Blake, the quarterback for the Bengals, and and I asked him, PFF at that time called Dak average, and I asked you, I said, what's your thoughts on that? And you said Dak is not average, but he definitely has a lot of weapons. And this is what Jesse said. He said, my question, this is before going into the season, is the coaching going to release him? Are you going to let Dak throw the ball downfield? Will you be less predictable? Everything you said was all the corrections they made going into that season. So I know you always talk about you having a real good relationship with Kittner. So I wanted to really lean on you for this. What, in your opinion, from talking to Kittner, is something that Dak has improved on? And what does he still need to improve on? Because you hit that on the head. I want to see where we go going forward with that question.
The one thing that I know for a fact, just knowing John Kittner, know how he coaches, know how he thinks as a person, as a player, as a man, is, and he said it before, and he learned this from Mike Marks. He doesn't coach caution. See, Dak was always under the tutelage of a cautious coach. Hey, take profit. Take the check down. Don't force it in there. And so what I think the biggest thing that John Kittner did was he unleashed, or he opened up Dak's mind to how to be a less cautious quarterback and helped him understand the game in a cerebral manner. What do I mean by that? Is, Dak, if we're calling a play, if we're calling the dig route, right? We're calling dagger. That's a seam and a dig. And we get cover two, the route that we want to go to is the dig. Throw the dig. Throw
right.
it. And if whatever happens later, we'll figure that out later. But the dig is the route that you're supposed to throw in this. When we call this play and they give us cover two, the dig is the route that you're supposed to throw. That's a 17-yard gain. So don't think about, don't be like, oh my God, no, throw the dig. And if it doesn't work, then we can come back and say, okay, here's why. John Kittner allowed him to see the game at a much greater concept. He opened up his mind and he took the training wheels off and he said, listen, you have the ability, you have the wherewithal, you have the knowledge, and you have the weapons. So use them. And you saw him open up that attack with him saying, you know what, I'm going down the field. And he became more and more comfortable with taking those shots and more comfortable with kind of calling his own shots. And that's a product of coaching. That's a product of coaching. And you can tell when a player has a coach who handcuffs him versus a coach who has a player and releases something from him. We've seen it time and time again. We can look at a player like Jared Goff. When he was under Jeff Fisher, everybody said this kid is a bust. But the moment another coach got a hold of him and changed his mindset and the way he thought and the way he processed the football game, we say this kid at that time was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So a coaching can do one or two things. It can handcuff you, and again, you take on, especially if that coach or those coaches, for Jason Garrett is an offensive guy, he's always taught safety, security, caution. That's his MO. And you saw it play out in the way Dak played. And then you see him get another coach who says, no, we're not going to be cautious. We're going to be attacking. We're going to be the attackers. We're not going to let them dictate to us. We're going to dictate to them. And all of a sudden you see him throw for his best year. Yeah. Now I think that's going to be the same. I think that grows even more with Mike McCarthy. I think when you see what he did with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be able to take that and say, you know what? Yeah, that was your quarterback coach telling you that. Now when your head coach tells you that, now you like this. You like, oh, okay. Head coach said throw that thing down the field. Because now, you know what I'm saying? When your position coach is doing it, you're like, all right, cool. And John Kittner has a way of building confidence in the way that he teaches. But when your head coach is saying that, when your head coach is not saying, hey, I know it's third down, so let's be, if we got to punt, we got to punt. Now Mike McCarthy gonna say, let's kill him. Let's finish him. Now you like, hey, coach, let's kill these jokers. And it's a different way of thinking.
Yeah. Hey, I had my good buddy on here, Roy Williams, last year, and he kicked off.
The safety or the receiver?
Safety. You know what I'm saying? And I had him on here, and he kicked off like my training camp show. You know, California boy, you know what I'm saying? He looked out for me. And we talked to him around that time. You know, we were talking. Actually, this was last year. So around then, we were talking about the, you know, JESSE Elliott and all the running backs and stuff that were holding out. And he said a quote that's just been infamous on our show from now on, that we kind of like filter everything through. And he said, West Coast, he said, when a team gives you a contract, it's two things. It shows two things. One, your ability to get better each year. Can you get better each and every year? And their level of appreciation for you. I want to know, because I mean, to be honest with you, Jesse, like through everything you just said right now, and to everybody that has like these two little things in your ear that call eyeballs, you can even listen to games now. But if you've been listening to Dak or watching him for the last 4 years, he's gotten better like every single year. You know what I'm saying? So we don't got to like go into that whole like, oh, well, we know he's gotten better every year. He's not God, but he's, you know, he's definitely.
Yeah, he's better.
So my question is, what's up with this whole appreciation thing? You know what I'm saying? If you're Dak Prescott, I mean, you know, just from the way this contract and things have been handled, you know, does this show that does this show a level of appreciation for the Cowboys? I mean, that the Cowboys have for Dak Prescott? And then I want to slide into some of these numbers, man, that, you know, that are possibly going out there, because, you know, one thing that I really appreciate you is you've kind of led this train on as far as media on, you know, getting, you know, not necessarily paying Dak, but not paying Dak because he's your favorite player. Because I know you see a lot of that going on, but playing Dak because he's a good player and it makes sense. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know, you know, what are your thoughts on the real appreciation? Because I think there's some people out there that believe that, you know, he's not appreciated by the franchise. And then let's kind of dive into those numbers a little.
Well, here's the thing you have to remember with Dak, and you can use Zeke for an example as well. The appreciation level is different because of where they were picked. See, when I pick a guy in the first round at number 4, I got to be right, because we put so much value into that. I have to be right with this guy. And there was a holdout with Zeke. You see what I'm saying? There was a holdout there. But with Dak, it's almost in like the great philosopher Jay-Z kind of says, you know.
I knew Hov was coming. I knew it was coming.
Right. So it's almost so you made Hov, so you think you can make another Hov.
Make another Hov then.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, if we're being honest, let's be honest with ourselves. Since Troy Aikman, the Cowboys have gotten lucky twice.
Right.
If Cowboys didn't get lucky twice, they look like the Browns.
We're 12 quarterbacks since Troy.
Okay.
Since Troy Aikman, we're 12 quarterbacks since.
So
Troy.
they got lucky, and again, they got lucky with Tony Romo. But why did Tony Romo have success? Who was his offensive coordinator?
If I'm not mistaken, Peyton.
Sean Payton.
Saints.
Right. So there's a level of coaching that so people don't think Jason Garrett wasn't his offensive coordinator. He had Sean Payton for a little while. And Sean Payton kind of honed his skills and he developed off of that. Right? When Bill Parcells was there, Sean Payton was there, and then Sean Payton left and went to New Orleans. But Tony got a chance to learn early on what it meant to be a quarterback from Sean Payton's perspective and Bill Parcells' perspective and how they wanted to grow him. And then you got Dak Prescott, who, if we want to look back on time, Dak Prescott, not only was he behind Tony Romo, he was behind Kellen Moore too. It took a broken back and a broken ankle for him to actually get the start. Like, think about that. It took 2 injuries for him to actually get the start. 2, yeah. Because it was Kellen Moore who was going to get the start.
Yeah.
And then he broke his ankle. So there's a level of like, you know, we made this hole so we can find another hole.
Yeah.
When it's not really the thing. That's not really what it is. And I'll be honest with you, a part of me, I believe this to my core. And I could be wrong, but history says that I'm not. The Joneses love to negotiate. Like, they love this. Like, Jerry Jones and those guys love this portion. They love this back and forth. This is how they made their money all their lives. Every other part of their businesses are in this negotiation arena. You don't become a billionaire if you don't have this level and love of negotiation. I tweeted this out a couple weeks ago and people thought I was crazy, but I just know that people that haven't never really high level negotiated. And I'm going, a high level of negotiation sometimes can be better than sex. It really can. Like, it gives you a level of excitement and almost, you know, and I like to say football horny. It gives you a level of horniness where you're just like, Nah, I'm a wheel and deal this thing until I get where I want to get, or I have to fold. And so I think they understand. They know that in order for this loaded team to be successful, they need Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott knows in order for this team to be successful, they need me. And so here you have these two dominant figures who both know we need each other to win. And we're just going to sit here and do first one. Who's going to blink? First one's going to blink.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a level of, for the Cowboys, kind of, if, well, yeah, you were a 4th round pick. And so the love is different. The love is just different. It's one of those things where, your firstborn, you love. But if you got in a relationship and she brought her kid in, you really love your kid, and you're going to learn to love that kid, and that kid can be special to you, but it ain't quite the same love as my 4th number overall pick. You see what I'm saying? We love you. I love you, and you're making a great addition to this family. But see, this first one that really came from me, that's really mine, that I didn't have since birth, not the one that came in a little bit later. I can love you both. Just one I love a little bit more. So that's why he got that, and this one is kind of come a little bit later. But
Go ahead, boss.
Yeah. I actually want to dig into the numbers. Because we asked you, well, actually, West Coast asked you last year, what is a hometown discount for Dak? And we've been hearing team friendly since last year, April 5th, 2019. And you actually you said 28 million was team friendly last year, but it was right after Wentz. That's when we was having this discussion. So right. You based the 28 team friendly off Wentz getting the 32 million, right? But you said a real expectation, if we was trying to close this out, would be 32.5 because Wentz was 32 at the time. And Wentz was 107.9 in a total guarantee. So you said you expected a little bit higher than that if they was trying to close it out. So like I said, I want to start from where we left off at SportsCon and then get a new prediction going forward on West Coast question, which is what is team friendly and what is your expectation of this contract and how do you think it should close out this time?
I think team friendly is done.
Yeah.
I think there's no team friendly. There is none.
Right.
The best team friendly that they can get is the franchise. That's it.
Fact.
I think Dak understands his worth. I think his representation understands his worth. I think they also understand the position that the Cowboys are in right now, where you're coming in, how lame would it be if we open up the year and we have all this excitement? We got Mike McCarthy, a brand new head coach, and we finally got sports back, right? We had this lull with the COVID, and we finally got sports back, and we don't have our starting quarterback. And now, I'm not saying that Andy Dalton can't play, but Andy Dalton ain't Dak. And so you have we got CeeDee Lamb. We got, we got 2,000-yard receivers that we have returned. We got Zeke's, he back, and we're ready to go, and everything is ramped up. And we got, we got Tankers back, and we went and got this guy, we went and got that guy. You have all these things happening, and now you go into the season and you're saying, we don't have our quarterback. So I think that the only team-friendly deal that you get right now, where they're at right now, the only thing that you get team friendly is whatever that tag number is. That is the team friendly number now. That is the team friendly thing that they're going to do. Other than that, they're going to stay packed on their. They want and they deserve it. You had a 4-year worth of discount.
Yeah.
You got productivity for backup money, for less than backup money, for league average money.
4 years.
So you got 4 years of a home discount. And you put your team in a position to win right now. This is a win right now football team. This isn't we're guessing, we're trying out. No, this is a win right now football team. So I think going forward, and I want Dak to get every red cent that he deserves, that he wants. Because I'm always for the player. I'm always going to be for the player. Like the Jones family will make money to you, me, West Coast, till we all dead. They're always going to make money. They're always going to be worth billions, and their numbers will continue to do this, right? At some point in time, Dak won't be able to play anymore, and what he's worth or what his value will disintegrate. and you'll be a less than player, and then you'll go off and you got to just do whatever you got to do with the rest of your life with the money that you're making. Now, don't take what I'm saying as far as money and think about like, well, there's so many people in the world who can use $34 million. Yeah, you stay in your lane, brokey. That's the lane that you live in. You don't
exactly.
You don't live in 30. You don't live in that lane. So when people always talk about, man, what I would do with $30 million, yeah, what you would do with $30 million because you don't live in that lane. You don't live in that conversation. So if I gave you $2 million, you'd be happy and shut the hell up because you don't know what it is to live in that space. You don't live in that world or that realm. So you think, oh my God, I can't believe he turned down $35 million. What an a-hole, what an idiot. No, shut up, brokey, because you don't live in that area. Anything above your $22 an hour, and I'm not crapping on people who make $22 an hour. I'm not. I'm just saying, stop saying that because you don't live in that world.
Right.
Okay? You don't live in that world. When you live in that world, you understand it. So get everything that you can get now because the Cowboys will continue to make money long after you're gone. In fact, whatever they're paying you, they're able to pay you that 30 or 35 or $40 million because what you're going to do in the field is going to make them a lot more money to cover the cost of paying you.
Hey, real quick, and this is what you already know what Jerry gonna buy.
That's not me, Jerry. That's them. That's not me.
Hey, man, the Nina, the Peanut, the Santa Maria. Hey, man, Jerry gotta have his boat, man. But hey,
oh no doubt.
What, and I'm gonna tell you.
Boat because I'm trying to get my invite. Once I get my invite, I'll talk about it.
Hey, Jerry's like, don't mess this up for me, West Coast. I'm almost there.
Yeah,
I'm
like
almost
don't mess this up for me, for your boy. If at least let one of us get on the boat, right? Don't kill it for everybody. If I get on the boat, I get on the boat for everybody. I bring everybody with me on the boat in spirit, but don't kill it for me before I get on the boat.
I love it. Hey, Jesse, I absolutely love it, man, because we all gonna need it. But hey, I'm gonna tell you something else. He left out a little piece of that question, man, because at the end of that question, I asked this last piece. I said, do you think that it comes something like this comes to a holdout? You know what I'm saying? And
you said is Dak a nice guy?
Is a nice guy. Now, real quick, cool thing about it is we had Mike Fisher on here last night, right? And we asked Mike Fisher, like, yo, Mike, Friday, they said, it's kind of, and Mike made a great point too that we've been pushing, that it's really hard to hold out when there's nothing to hold out from. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, it's going to be different when the camps, like if these camps, open. First thing I want to do is, because you were the closest person, to football here because you were working for the .com. First question I want to know is how realistically are we to getting back?
.com didn't fire me yet.
There you go.
They didn't fire me yet. The station fired me, but the .com I'm still good there.
There we go. So with that, I want to know how close are we really to getting football back? And then I'm actually going to ask you the same question that I asked Fish because I want to know your answer to it. If we are able to get football back on Friday or whenever you think we're going to get football back, does that create some type of artificial deadline to get this thing done? Because now you can actually hold out from something. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hard to hold out from a DVD. You know what I'm saying? From whatever they watch. And they watching plays on the VCR or something. But it's easy to do. You know what I'm saying? You can hold out from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that July 15th date, like that is the date. Let me ask you a first question. Yes, we're going to have football. 100% we're going to have football.
Love it.
You can see when the three biggest states in the country, California, Texas, and New York, all start saying we're going to start doing something. This rules everything around, not just me, not just you, everybody else. Mm-hmm. And you don't, billions of dollars are, and I'm not just talking about the actual football. I'm talking about everything that's around the actual game of football. There is no bigger sports in America than football. So the gambling, the restaurants, the hotels, the cities. So like, there is a huge loss of revenue and income in those cities around the football season, that if you don't have the football season, you're going to lose those things. But when you start seeing all of a sudden now everyone's like, oh yeah, we're open for business, and now things start to kind of matriculate a little bit. Now, if you ask me, will we have fans? I don't know. That part I do not know. There may be a little bit on that, at least for the first half of the season, but there will be football. There will be football, and for the deadline, that July 15th date, and the reason why that's the date, because after that, you can't do a deal. So July 15th is the hard deadline, because if they're not signed by July 15th, he either won't play this year or he'll play under the franchise tag. That's just the way the rules say, unless they do some sort of deal where they push that deadline back. If he doesn't sign, his representative doesn't sign by July 15th, he has to play this NFL season under the franchise tag or not play at all. And I don't think he's not going to play at all. I'm not going to turn down $30-something million if we don't get the deal done. But that may fracture the relationship going forward for next year. Now people trying to make the consideration with like Kirk Cousins and what he said and stuff like that. Those two don't compare, because Kirk Cousins didn't have a $100 million offer on the table. Like, there wasn't even an offer at all on the table for Kirk Cousins. It was a super low ball deal for Kirk Cousins. So he had to take that was the best money he was going to get, So July 15th, that's the date we should be looking for, like that. And trust me, once we start getting into the late June, early July situation, that, come back from that 4th of July weekend, you'll see the talks intensify. You'll start hearing more and more rumors about, they're meeting again. Right now, honestly, right now, and if it's true to what we've heard before, that the offense isn't changing as much as far as the verbiage. He spent 4 years in this offense. So if all you're going to do is just add some wrinkles to it, I already know what it sounds like. I already know what the foundation of it is. It won't take me that long to come back in and get my feet back underneath myself. To do so, he's going to keep working out with his receivers over the offseason. You've seen reports and you've seen, pictures and stuff of that. So this part is this is the easy part. This is easy. I don't have to do anything. Cowboys don't have to do anything. That doesn't have to do anything, because we haven't been faced with the deadline just yet. Once we get closer to July 15th, you'll all of a sudden see, talks intensify.
Yeah, I keep going back to SportsCon, because West Coast had a fire question, and then you had, to me, even a fire answer. He asked you this, and I want to continue this question as well before, and then I shouldn't have maybe just one more. He said, if you could take one thing from New England and the Patriots, and you play with them, so you saw both cultures, and give it to the Dallas Cowboys, what would that be? And your answer was, put football first. And you was obviously talking about the old regime. We're under a new regime. You just got to meet with Mike McCarthy. Is football first? And what is your gut instincts with this new regime versus what you had with the old regime? Is football first, and why?
Jesse, before you answer though, can you do us a small favor, please? Because you dropped a gem the other day on the show when you were talking about Mike McCarthy and getting on the show early and stuff like that. Like, you only on that show, it only took you 3 minutes to do it. You talk fast, you do it, but I need you to drop that same gem here, because this is remarkable, like what he experienced with Coach McCarthy, and this just tells so much. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll start with that, then I'll get back to that second part of the question. The other day, I was fortunate enough, and I've been fortunate enough like the last 5 or 6 years, is I have an opportunity, me and some other guys, to talk to the rookies every single year. And so as I log into the Zoom calls, we're all doing Zoom calls now. As I log into the Zoom calls, I'm there about 10 or 15 minutes before anybody else gets in there. So I'm in there for a little while, and all of a sudden, Mike McCarthy pops on. And I'm like, oh snap, that's Coach. Now, I've done this 5 or 6 years, and I don't want to sound like I'm kicking a man while he's down. But I was 5 or 6 years, I had done this. And I was in the building, and the head coach never came in. Never once. And here we are, new regime, new head coach, and maybe he's just trying to do this for now. I don't know, but it seemed authentic. And he comes in, now he's there before any other player is there. And so he and I got a chance to talk a little bit just off record, more just, player coach type of relationship. And I'm asking, and I can basically ask him, like, you're here early, coach, like, what are you doing? He goes, I want to make sure who's logging in and what time they're logging in, because accountability is going to be rule around here, and they will respect your time as if you were a coach, because you've given your time and you guys are giving your time. And I want to make sure that guys aren't logging in 1 minute before the start time. I want to see who's logging in and what time these guys are logging in, because I'm holding these guys accountable. This is to be treated as if it's one of our meetings that I'm leading. Even though I'm not leading it, it's to be treated as such. And so that was one of the things that he kind of stressed about, was just holding that accountability level for every single person. And that these guys that are coming in as rookies, this is their first class. You have to understand this is the way that we're rolling. We're functioning in this manner. You'll be respectful, you'll be accountable, and all those things are how we will evaluate you. And to get back to your question, the differences between, how it was with the Patriots and, the old regime and how the new regime was going to be. It's that big word that we hear. It's the accountability part. And that can't be, it's a word that we've heard used so much, but it's so meaningful and so impactful, because what I loved about the Patriots and what I've heard Mike McCarthy tell me is there will be a level of competition throughout. See, under the old regime, just because you was labeled the starter week 1, you were the starter through all the weeks, and nothing changed that. No one was allowed to challenge that. No one was, unless injury happened to take place, no matter what happened on film, you were still going to line up next week as the starter because, quote unquote, that's what you were. It's not that way in New England. New England is, you the starter this week, but best believe if you don't get it right by halftime, I'll put someone else in there. And just because you thought you were the starter this week, if you don't perform as such during practice this week, you won't play next week. And there's countless and countless of examples from New England. And the one that I always bring up was when it was a running back. I think his name was Jonas Gray, right? Jonas Gray, 1 week, he rushed for 300 yards or 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Balled out. He was late to a team meeting that next week. Not only did he not play, he didn't even dress. Now here it is, you went for a career high day 1 week, 3 touchdowns, 200 and something, 250 or 75 or something crazy. And you were late to a team meeting that following week and you didn't get dressed. The Patriots have a rule: if you're not talking about yourself and you're talking about a teammate, it has to be in a positive manner. And if I tell you as the head coach that we aren't talking about certain things and you talk about them in the media, you'll have to deal with me. Fast forward, rewind back to that time, he bitched his best receiver in a playoff game, Wes Welker, when he made the feet comment about Rex Ryan's wife's feet. That was during the playoffs. He benched his best receiver for a half in a playoff game. That matters simply because you will be accountable to what we say. Whatever our rule is, whatever our accountability is, you will either fall in line with that or they will be held to pay. There was never hell to pay in the Jason Garrett era. No one ever felt that there was going to be the hammer brought down on them, especially now. I always tell people, guys like me don't count. See, they bring the hammer down on guys like me because I'm really no value. I'm expendable.
Yeah, low-hanging fruit.
I'm low-hanging fruit. But if you want to set an example, you bitch Wes Welker.
Yeah.
Then guess what I see? Oh, damn.
Yeah.
If he bitch Wes Welker, the hell he gonna do to me? So
Right.
Now you get in line with everyone else, and now everyone beats to the same, to the same drum. And I think with Mike McCarthy, there's going to be a level of accountability and there's going to be competition. You're not going to be because you were the day one starter, you're the starter. Because there's no way we should keep hearing over and over again, well, we had guys doing willy-nilly stuff. We had guys doing, their own thing. Guys weren't doing assignment, alignment, stuff like that. We weren't executing. Well, if that's not happening and you keep putting these guys out there, it ain't their fault no more. It's your fault. Because you have to address that as the head man. I think with Mike McCarthy, you're going to see you're going to see much more difference in accountability and competition. And that's going to make everything. if you have to naturally, there's a natural progression between, I'll use receiver DB matchup. We naturally compete with one another. It's just the way that it goes. You're right. It's just like that's what it is. If you're a receiver and I'm a DB, we don't like each other in the sense of I want to stop you want to dominate me.
Yeah, I can't stand you.
But now, if you take that natural and also say, hey, the backup corner behind you, if he plays better than you this week, he's starting. So now I have competition in front of me and I have competition behind me. That is sharpening the knife. That is sharpening the iron. Because if I don't study harder, if I don't, do my techniques, all those little things, I have the possibility of losing my job. Now everyone is on edge of, oh snap, you know what? I might not want to go to the club tonight. And I might not want to do my own thing. And there's still a Mike Fisher, you guys had him on last night. Still, one of his quotes is, there was 53 brands for the Cowboys last year. And a part of the willy-nilly, everybody doing their own thing was because everybody was trying to do their thing so that they could promote their brand and get hyped to their brand. And your one brand should be what's on the flag behind you, what's on the flag behind you, what's on that that's on that helmet that's right behind me, right? On that's
right. That
should be the number one brand. And everything else falls after that. When I was in New England, and this ain't something I heard, this is something that this ain't hearsay. I heard it from the boss's mouth. And you can look at it. You don't see jokers doing a lot of, autograph sessions, small events. You don't see that happen in New England during September to February. Because Bill Belichick tells you, football is first from September to February. Look at Gronk. Gronk never did all that crazy stuff during the season. It was always in the offseason. He was unloading in the offseason. Because Bill was saying, if it's not approved by me, and I find out that you're out here doing, if you got time to go and do stuff at the mall, you got time that you should be studying. If you at home being with your family, be with your family. But if you doing autograph signings and walkthroughs at the club and all that kind of stuff, then you're not taking football serious. And we can't depend on you. And if I can't depend on you, you can't be on my football team.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna have to tell my sponsor, man, when they watching half this video, man, just don't listen to when we get to I told you that last time when you was on my live.
Yeah,
don't be getting on
you
here
did say that.
Players, don't be going
exactly what you said.
God dang, Jesse, like, God, man, I got 5 kids, man. I got 5 kids.
Listen, but if you covering the Cowboys,
let's work.
Hey, but
Cowboys, everybody got a TV show. Listen, I'm talking about me. When I was a Cowboy, I was a backup. I was a special teams guy. I had radio shows, autograph signings every week.
Wow.
Every week. Yeah. Every week. And I was the guy who may have played 4 offensive snaps a week in every special teams. And I had autograph sessions, and I people wanted me on their radio shows, and I was jumping on a plane going to where they go down to Harlingen or to Brownsville to do radio shows on Tuesdays.
El Chuco.
I was on those planes too.
El Paso. Don't forget about El Paso.
So, and that's everybody does that. Like you go and look, man. Everybody got to fly out. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be there. I'm like, dog, you ain't. Get your money, young folks. Ain't mad at you, but damn.
Go ahead and say it, Jesse. Jesse, go ahead and say it. You was right on the cusp. You ain't.
Yeah, I'm like, but I listen. I'm never going to hate on the man getting his money. Get your money, young fella. But again, if we're talking about football, there's no way. But that's the Cowboy way. The Cowboy way is the glitz, the glam, the glory, to be larger than life, and we've seen it. We've seen it since forever. The problem is that we don't have enough guys who are willing to put in the work on the back end. See, the 90s guys, they went and did all that kind of stuff, but nobody worked harder than Michael Irvin. Nobody partied harder than Michael Irvin, but nobody worked harder than either, right? But he kept you in line. Michael would be like, listen, we're going to go chase this tail later on, but right now, you better get in your goddamn playbook. You better get on this damn field. You better do da-da-da-da-da, because that mattered. At that moment, it was first.
Yeah,
it was first. Now, once we go get this dub, then I'm gonna go chase this tail, and I'm gonna go have these drinks. But we're gonna get this done. We're gonna do all that we gotta do first.
Yeah.
First.
We're gonna measure twice and cut once on the football field first. Then we're gonna go do this over here. Because once we win these games and we win these chips, the rest of that stuff gonna come, man. They got it backwards. It's look at me, be a star, be my brand. Oh, and I hope we get the wins.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean,
just
you had it. Go ahead. You had something real quick, boss?
Yeah, my stuff is quick because it's personal. I wanted to talk about you personally. The first time I met you was at SportsCon at the VIP event. And you made the biggest impression out of everybody that was out there. There was a lot of media people out there. There was a whole lot of people. But, you know, I went and asked you. I said, hey, I'm an upstart blogger. I have a co-host, West Coast. And West Coast, Jesse spent about 30 minutes with me talking about how to actually improve in what we do now. One of the main things he told me was get your reps and keep marketing yourself and put yourself out there. But what really impressed me about you, it didn't stop there. I saw you the next day. It was at 105.3. You was with Ari. You had a booth. What really impressed me, West Coast always says this because he said he got this from his mom. You can really tell a character somebody on how they treat somebody that they know, you know, is on a lower level than them. And when I walked in, the first thing, and you was on the radio, you was doing your thing. You pointed at me, and you went out there and you shook my hand as you was on the radio. And then when they took a commercial break, you said, "Keep getting your reps, man." You know, like you continued it just to encourage. And so when I show, because we every now and then on this show kind of showing that real vibe that we had during that day, I think a lot of people need to see that part of you as well and don't know that part of you. Because when you gave West Coast and now that interview, you was walking out and we just said, hey, can we ask you a couple of questions? And you stopped, you put your arm around me, you put your arm around West Coast, and you gave us straight 30 minutes on your feet and you was done working for the fan. You was finished, but you still gave. So I just wanted to recognize that and see if you had any input on that, like what make you do stuff like that. But I'm gonna just tell you myself, I appreciate it because West Coast and I, we're doing way better now. But I remember that day. And I even saw you at the Giants game and you did the exact same thing. I walked in, I was like, he probably don't remember me. And you looked right at me, you pointed at me, you went all the way down there and shook my hand again, man. So that, to me, that says a lot about you because it's so many times most people won't remember a random person. But to me, you went out your way to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's who I am. Like that's not a facade. I'm not trying to put on for you. And you're absolutely right. Like I ain't do that in front of 100 people. Like this is who I am.
Right.
The thing that I always look and here I go quoting again. Like Wale has a song that I absolutely love, and in the line it goes, "Sue me, I'm rooting for everything that's black." Right? Sue me, I'm rooting for everything that's black. And I know as a brother, and I have nothing against white people. I love white people, but as a brother, I want to give every bit of information that I have to those who can use it. And when I talk to you, that was someone who was genuinely trying to get information.
Right.
So I wanted to genuinely give you the information that I had. Yeah. Because guess what? It does me no good to keep it to myself. I want to see you win. I want to see West Coast win. Because if y'all winning, then we all winning. And my grandmother she told me this thing a long time ago about legacy. And most people will receive something today and never know Yvonne Holley. And what you received was Yvonne Holley. See, that's her legacy living on. And one day you're going to put your arm around somebody and pour into them. And whether I'm 50, 60 or dead and gone, if you do that to someone else, they may not never know who Jesse Holley was, but my legacy just lived on. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm always trying to give whatever. I can't do nothing. Me keeping the knowledge to myself does nothing to me. This is who I am. I'm a real dude. I'm a real person. Like people put us on this pedestal. And I know what life is like to be up here,
Right.
and I know what it means to be down here. And I watched it happen in my own personal life like that.
Yeah.
So there may come a day one day, right? I may seem like I'm up here today, but there may become a day one day where like that, and I'm down here, and you may be up here. And we may cross paths and whatever. I may be a bum on the street. And that day you may see me and you might be rolling in your Bentley. And you might notice me and say, that's Jesse Holley. Man, let me help him like he helped me 20 years ago. Let me put my arm around him. So I'm always wanting to give real love. And I always want to let people know that I'm human just like you. You and I can have a conversation about anything because that's what people do. I'm not better than you. Now, I have my limitations, right? I always tell people, if I'm eating, don't come talking to me. Give me that. At least give me that. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me the fact that I can eat in peace. But man, that's just who I am, man. I want people to win. Like, I want everybody to win. And the thing that kills me the most in our community, and I'm talking brother to brother, that kills me the most is instead of us doing this with one another, we do this with one another.
Yeah.
We just pull each other. Nah, I ain't helping him. Nah. Listen, if you go on and have the biggest TV show or radio show in the world and I never have one, I'm like, get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what you get it. Because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not in this thing to like, I don't know. I'm just not. That's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. That's not where I'm from. I'm just real, man. I'm just real, and I want people to know that I'm regular. I'm regular, just like you. And if I can help in any type of way, have the knowledge, have the experience, have whatever it is, and if I can help a show, if I can help this, if I can help that.
Yeah.
What's
Well, I want to.
like, I didn't lose anything out of my day to give you 30 minutes of knowledge that you still remember from years upon. You know what I'm saying? That's
we
impact.
talked about it today. Yeah.
That's impact. That's impact.
Yeah, great impact.
And
Yeah,
just
and
real
appreciate
quick,
that.
And real quick, because you said something early, man, and I wanted to kind of touch on it a little bit because you said that you feel like, with McCarthy, there's going to be like no real competition or no real favorites or anything like that. And like
no, there is going to be real competition.
There's going to be real competition. There's going to be real competition. There's going to be no favorites. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I got to give you a little pushback, right? And then, like, if West Coast is tripping, shoot, tell me I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? Maybe West Coast, you looking at this wrong. You know what I'm saying? But Michael Irvin said that the number 88 is not no number 2. It is not no number 3. The 88 is a number 1 wide receiver. And Amari Cooper just got paid $20 million a year. Okay, so I want to know, Jesse, Michael Gallup is walking out of SportsCon. I want to know, you just put your arm around Michael Gallup. What are you telling Michael Gallup right now? Because I feel like Michael Gallup is a very precarious situation right now because I feel like 88 is going to be a number 1. That's because Uncle Mike ain't never said that about me. And I've been here 2 years. You know what I'm saying? He never said that about me. So I want to know your perspective on that. And then I want to know the advice you're giving him because you're a fellow wide receiver. I want to know.
The first advice I'm giving Michael Gallup, don't listen to Michael Irvin. That's the first advice I'm giving him.
He was wrong for that, right? He was wrong for that, right?
No, that's Michael Irvin. Michael, here's what, I can say
like
this.
Jesse's been wanting to say this.
I can say this because Michael is like my friend. Like, he's really my friend. And like, I can call Michael for anything. So I can say this because we have a relationship like this.
Right.
There's no bigger maybe Deion. But after Deion, there's no bigger self-promoter than Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin, why he had no pushback, so to speak, on 88 being given to CeeDee Lamb, is because Michael wants 88 to stay alive. And as long as 88 is alive, you have to talk about Michael Irvin. You can never bring up Michael Irvin, never bring up 88 and not talk about Michael Irvin. So as long as 88 is in the fold and having some success, there's always going to be a comparison to who?
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin. He has to be in that conversation. So Michael is always going to push the number 88 because he's attached to it. That is always going to be. Now, I'm going to give y'all a game. You think at some point in time, ain't nobody going to pay for Des Bryant, Michael Irvin, CeeDee Lamb, and Drew Pearson to show up and do an autograph signing?
Absolutely.
Michael gets about 10 to 15 grand to do an hour. So how many, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's always connected to the number. So there's always something on the other end for him. Mm-hmm. As long as the number's being talked about, now Mike has to be talked about. When they show the highlights of CeeDee Lamb, they're going to show the highlights of that 88. They're always going to be in the, so the first thing I would tell Michael Gallup is, don't listen to Michael. Michael he gains from 88. Number two, I would tell Michael Gallup, there ain't nothing wrong with being the number 2 wide receiver. Like people, we have this misconception that if you're not the number 1, like you're just trash. No. Think about how many times Batman had got his dumb self caught up in something and Robin had to come save him. Every episode of Batman, the cartoon, Batman got himself, he hanging up by his feet over some hot lava. The Joker got him tied up to some sort of bomb that's about to blow up. And who had to come save him? Robin. So ain't nothing wrong with being Robin. Robin eats too. And if CeeDee becomes the number 1 in a couple years, cool. That's fine. You still can eat as the number 2 dude. So don't worry about trying to be the number 1. Just be who you are. Play your role to the maximum ability. Because if CeeDee's gonna be if Amari's gonna be 1A and CeeDee's gonna be quote unquote 1B, we don't even know if he's going to be that. We don't know what he's going to be. He may struggle. He may come in and struggle because remember, college offenses, they just call one play. They say water bottle right. And now everything is water bottle right. It's no matter how you line up, water bottle right is water bottle right. So now when you come into the league and that long verbiage and now you got to learn different things, you may struggle with that. When the play has to be everything broken down into pieces. It ain't just holding up a sign or calling one call. Sometimes guys struggle with that. And now you have to go from hearing this play, learning this play, then learning where to line up at, and then going out there and figuring out what coverage this is and how I can be successful in this coverage. Michael Gallup, you got a jump start on him. You got 2-year jump start on him already. You know this offense. You know the language. You know the lingo. You know what it takes to be a professional at this moment. I'm not saying that CeeDee won't do it. I'm just saying that this ain't just an automatic thing that's going to happen. There's levels to this. So he may come in and it may click. It may not click. But I would tell Michael Gallup, no, be you. Be MG13. Go out there and do what you do best. You was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. You progress each and every year. And somebody gonna pay you, whether it's Dallas or whether it's some other team. Trust and believe you me. Your day, if you go out there again this year and get another 1,000-yard season, you won't have a problem getting money. Your money because people want to pay, not only do people want to pay former Dallas Cowboys, but people also want to play productive wide receivers. If the numbers are there, the money will be there. So in fact, I would tell Mike, I hope they forget about me. I hope they have all the attention over there on Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Because if they're going to put the number 1 receiver over there and the number 1 corner over there and the number 2 corner over there, then I already know I'm a high caliber player. I'm going to eat against the number 3 corner. I'm going to eat against that guy who don't get that much playing time. So let them come over there and play with me all they want. I'm just going to eat. So first thing first, don't listen to Michael Irvin when it comes to 88. I'm just telling you, don't. Michael is tied to 88 and he wants 88 to be successful no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, and then my next thing, because as you was walking through the hallway, because Michael Gallup, he said, okay, OG, I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go get a lineup real quick, because I got the 80s fade. Now I'm gonna go get this lineup. I'll be right back. And as you was walking through the hallway, you see Cheetah Bayawuzie standing there, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We've had some dialogue. We had some other people ask, Cheetah Bay, this question, what is his feelings on moving the corner? I mean, moving to safety, and he was very adamant at that time that that he was a corner, and this is kind of a contract year. what are your thoughts on Cheetah Bay moving to in a contract year, moving to I mean, I played corner all my life. My boy Boss played corner all my life. Outside of Charles Woodson, a corner getting moved to safety, that's a demotion. I mean, let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a demotion. You know what I'm saying? Except for Charles Woodson, who made it look just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? He did it. You know what I'm saying? But what are your thoughts on Cheeto being moved possibly to the free safety or just into the safety room possible? And then, what are kind of your thoughts on just talk? I see a lot of players in Dallas get moved around. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on that?
My first conversation to him is, how much do you believe that you're a starting caliber corner in this league? Like, how much do you honestly believe that you are? And that's that's that mirror moment that you have to have. Like, you gotta, and that's the thing, you had to be real with you. So if you feel in your heart of hearts that you're a starting caliber corner in this league, you fight for it. But if you don't think that, and there's a hint of hesitation in your thought process, and you want to play in this league, then you move where they put you at. Because other than that, you have zero leg to stand on. You didn't come in as a high draft pick. You don't have much history to say that you got numbers to back you up. When you're in those kind of positions, you have to say, if I wholeheartedly believe that I am a starting caliber corner in this league, then I stand on that. And I deal with whatever comes with that. Release, trade, whatever. Because sometimes it's situation and scenario, right? It's scheme that sometimes other coaches may put you in that, and other times you gotta look at it and go, you know what? They right. And it would fit me better if I went and played safety. Maybe I'll play an extra 2 or 3 or 4 years in this league. Especially if you have the ability to intercept the football, because turnovers matter. If you back there making plays, turnovers matter. So my conversation with him would be, in your heart of hearts, do you really feel that you are a starting caliber corner in this league? And if there's an ounce of hesitation, then it's time for you to move.
All right, and what are your thoughts? Because, I mean, I try to follow as many teams, but I remember Barry Church, when he was in that Jaguars defense, they asked him, it was the first year, because after that, they just kind of went, you know what I'm saying? But, after Barry Church left that first going to Jaguars, they asked him in an interview, they were like, what is one thing that you should take? And that's actually where I got that question I got you from the Patriots. And they asked Barry Church, they were like, yo, like, if you could take one thing from the Jaguars, their defense and versus what the Cowboys do. And he said, the one thing I would do, man, is allow people to just kind of stay where they are. He's like, the Cowboys believe in a lot of, like, everybody has a history of moving here or moving there. And it, like, you even had reports, I'm listening to the show with Nate Newton. Nate Newton just dropped a bomb saying that Connor Williams was considering playing a little center. And I'm like, I mean, if it's best for the team, I love it. But do you think there's a point where, at some point you draft a guy after you draft him, allow him to get his feet there? Or did you experience a lot of, did you experience a lot of that in your career, or see a lot of that in your career?
I think part of what the problem was in the past with the Cowboys, and you see Mike McCarthy, he came out and said that it's, even when they draft, give me the player, we'll figure out the scheme later. Like, I'm not going to force these circles into squares. Right, I'm going to make it work with the players that we have. But the thing is, position flexibility, when you're not the number one guy, can be useful for you. If Connor Williams learns how to play multiple positions, it only makes his value go up. It makes people want to keep you around, because now they're saying, well, if Connor can play center and guard, or center and tackle, or guard and tackle, or tackle and center, whatever that is, now I don't have to go and find another guy. I can just keep Connor because he can do both, right? So having that position flexibility in a guy like Cheeto, well, yeah, Cheeto, you're going to play safety today, but in a pinch or if injuries happen, I don't have to go find a guy off the street to come in. I can just move you down the corner. So having position flexibility, it's not a bad thing. Older guys don't like it, a la Barry Church, because, guys just want to be set in one place and I'm a strong safety. Let me know my responsibility as a strong safety. Don't be moving me all around because now I got to learn some other stuff. But as a younger guy, if you can get position flexibility, and that's just the way the league is going, you have to be able to do more. that's going to bring your value up. I don't think it's decreasing your value. I think it's actually giving you more value of having, especially if you're not a number one guy, if you're not Zeke, like Zeke doesn't have to learn how to do other stuff. He's a running back, period. Right? Like you don't have to do other things when you're the guy. That's just the way it goes. When you're not the guy, you have to be flexible so that they keep you, and not you become more valuable than you become expendable.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it on both sides. I have two little things I want to go over with you before we let you up out of here, man. One of the first little things I wanted to talk about is we asked Fish yesterday. We kind of went over, with LVE and his neck. And we definitely, I'm very optimistic. You know what I'm saying? When someone says they feel good, I'm optimistic. I'm always want to.
About what?
I mean, it's like this. Until I see you, I can't. Like Fish hit me with a bomb last night. Fish is like, look, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to injuries, until you see it, until you trust what they say and what you say, boss. You verify with your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
verify.
We can only trust what he's saying right now. But we can definitely verify. But I think, will he be ready to play? Yeah, I think he'd be ready to play. I think he's, you know what I'm saying? But I have questions like a guy like, Peyton Manning, whose career, ended because of a neck thingy. Then you had Lockett, whose career ended because of a neck little thing. A neck is one of those things where it's like not like a hand where you can kind of like adjust. Or I always do this drill for everybody to kind of realize how important your neck is. You know what I'm saying? On the count of 3, I want you to count your neck. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3. Now, 90% of us have one neck. There's probably 2 or 3 of you guys that are blessed with 2. Shout out to you. Praise God. Good for you. This is one time it came in handy. But LVE only got 1 neck. So anytime I hear a neck, and I'm going to tell you, Jesse, when your head coach, this is the one time in Jason Garrett's career he slipped. And you know what he said? He said, well, you know what? We don't think that LV's injury is career threatening. And when he said that, I was like, why would he say that if it wasn't? Why, that you would never walk up to your lady and be like, my wife's name's Jasmine. I'm not going to say, I'm going to use somebody. Baby, I am being faithful to you. You know what she's going to say? Who you lying to me? She going to slap you in your face because too much truth is a lie. Some free truth is a lie half the time. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know, like, as close to the information as we can get, like, what are your thoughts? Like, I mean, you've been a player. I mean, I never even knew a stinger was an official medical term, but I guess it is. What are your thoughts on this whole LVE thing? You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on it? And you only have one neck, Justin.
You think that a dude who's already had prior neck injuries, playing a position where every single down he is using his neck, whether it's tackling somebody or butting up and thudding up with somebody of an offensive lineman status trying to get off a block, that he's going to sustain. He's going to be sustained. Well, it's not an if. It's not a win. It's not an if. It's when.
Oh.
It's not an if. It's when. It's when did the neck go out? Is it next year? Next, linebackers and necks are oil and water. They don't go together. It's like how can I do my job effectively when I can't put my neck in it? Like that's everything. That is literally everything about a linebacker. It's being able to put my neck in situations, and God knows people don't even really form tackle the proper way anymore now. Like that's just when you start talking about necks and linebackers, you should start looking for another linebacker.
So Jesse, my question is this then. All right, because the Cowboys hail to having one of the best medical teams out there in the world. Right? Why didn't the Cowboys show that with their off-season moves? We signed 2 of our own linebackers in Marsh and Joe Thomas, who I love both, but they are primary special teams. Joe Thomas is a start. Right. He's a emer, the little hammer, emergency breaking curse. He's the breaking curse of emergency. You know what I'm saying? And now you're thinking about switching defenses to a defense that requires you to need more linebackers. Like Jesse, I'm tripping. I was wrong, but I thought the Cowboys were going to take a linebacker with like the first round or at least second, because I'm thinking there's no way you can have this much faith in LVE. They had so much faith in LVE. Not only did they release rumors about LVE changing positions, so now he's going to have to change his neck more. Why? Because he's going to be playing middle linebacker versus Torpedo. We just call him Torpedo because all you got to do is run, touch, hit the quarterback. Now, and you move Jalen Smith, and it's obvious they want to go through a 3-4, and they want to do it this year, obviously. But why do you not add linebackers? I don't get that. Like, how do you have that concept? And Jesse, let's just be real. They probably know what's going on with LVE more than we do. Mm-hmm. And they did nothing. We didn't draft nothing.
Well, it goes back to something that I said earlier, and we talked about the Dak Prescott situation. What did they draft Leighton Vander Esch at?
Yeah. Oh,
Late.
God. First.
19, right behind my boy
pick.
Went to the Chargers.
God, dog it.
It's a first round pick.
Yeah.
So we just ain't gonna give up. We're gonna. The dam has to break before we give up on a first round pick.
Yeah, but
like we got
the detriment of your team though. Like.
But okay. So that's the first part, right? So think about where he was drafted. Okay. Now the second part is that in their mind, if we can, where Leighton Vander Esch struggled and Jalen Smith struggled last year, they had nobody in front of them that kept blockers off of them. So they had to do a lot of thudding and hitting up with 300-pound dudes.
Hard tackle.
So what they did now was they went and said, let's go get some, as Nate says, some big greasies in front of them so that they're not having to deal with the 300-pound dudes so often to where they can just kind of almost run and tackle. Okay? So they addressed the need in front of them, and now in hopes that teams aren't trying to run the ball down their throats anymore because they got guys up front who are actually going to clog things up and make things have to go a different route. So you have a first round pick in Leighton Vander Esch. They felt that if we go get some guys in front of him, it'll make their job easier on the back end, on the middle part of it. And they felt that, you know what? I know what our medical experts said, but also we had greater needs elsewhere. Like there was a greater need at safety/corner than it was at linebacker. Even though I think that the neck won't last, there still was a greater need there. And I do believe that this team thinks that they're going to be a high-powered offense, which means teams aren't going to be able to run the ball down their throats anymore because they're going to be down 14, 17, 21 points. And now these guys will be able to be coverage guys and have these guys be able to be rushers and not necessarily tackers and gap fillers and all that kind of stuff. So that's my thought, and I could be wrong, and you could be 100% right. But my thought is just we're not giving up on a talented, Leighton Vander Esch is a talented first-round pick. We address the things that are happening that we didn't have in front of them before, and we hope that teams are now chasing us instead of running the ball down our throats.
We need insurance, Jesse.
Yeah, I was just about to, my last question. I'm gonna be honest with you. My last question.
They like the guys like Thomas and March. They like those guys. Really? So they're thinking if something were to happen, we'll be able to plug these guys in there and play. And if not, and here's what I'll also tell you: be patient because the offensive moves aren't finished. There are a lot of guys who will come off rosters, during training camp and stuff of that nature, and maybe one of them things you can kind of mark down now, they'll go get guys. They'll get a linebacker, a cornerback, or safety, an offensive lineman, and those guys start kind of – and it'll be veteran guys. It'll be veteran guys who team like, you know what? We held on to him because we didn't know where we were going, and now he's released, and they'll go snap somebody up for pennies on the dollar.
My last two subjects. Dez Bryant, what's your thoughts, man? He coming back?
To the Cowboys?
There you go. Next question. Yeah.
I'm saying the Cowboys, that never was going to happen. I don't know why people was even entertaining that. That was never going to happen. If they wanted Dez there, Dez would have never left.
Yeah.
Because a high profile guy like Dez, that ain't a coaching decision.
That's a management.
That's a management decision. and they didn't even offer him a salary cut. If the salary was an issue, they could have said, all right, Dez, you know what? If you want to be here, I'll take a pay cut. They were like,
Yeah.
They ate the money. They ate the money. You know what I'm saying?
they ate the money.
Yeah.
They didn't want him there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. Like, I literally had an epiphany on the show when I was Googling something else about Dez, and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I was thinking to myself, West Coast, would I fire? Because I used to be a district manager for a certain company. Legally, I'm not supposed to say him because I sued him and won. But I was a district manager for this certain company, and I'm thinking, like, if they paid me to leave their company, right? Like, they literally paid me to pack all my stuff and leave their company and never come back. Would they then pay me again to come back? I literally had an epiphany in the middle of the show, and I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, they literally paid me to leave.
Especially what they paid you for before has diminished.
Exactly.
Like, they paid you, but they fired you and paid you to leave. And now, since the time that you've been gone, the thing that they actually paid you for the first time has diminished. It didn't get better, it diminished. With age and injury and all of that, they're not paying you to come back. That was never a realistic thing. And I hate that people even floated around with it. And, you know, Dez is another personal good friend of mine, and I wish him nothing but the best. I do think there's still a place for him in this league. I do think that. With the Cowboys, it was never realistic. I don't care if he trained in Jerry's front grass. It was never happening.
Yeah, man, and say that too, because my boy Jesse was one of the first like celebrities, and I hope my boy Dez recognized too. You were one of the first celebrities that used your own social platform to rep his Society X, and I remember that because I heard about it from yours. So I mean,
he called me the night he was like he literally called me. I was actually leaving the charity event, and I had to pull over, and we like chopped it up like an hour, like the phone conversation. It was crazy. I love it. I love the concept, and I love the fact that. And this is so important. So if there's any young athletes listening, I love the fact, and this is the biggest thing when you see a lot of athletes go left, because we're so trained and programmed to be so focused in the game that we pour ourselves and we sacrifice everything into the game. And then when we leave, if you don't have anything to replace that void, you be searching. You start grasping and going for anything. That's how bad business deals happen. That's how guys get in trouble, because you're trying so hard to fill that void of your whole life. You've been pouring into something, and now when you're done pouring into that thing and you don't have another thing to pour into, like you've always been trained and programmed to do, you find yourself in these unusual situations. And a lot of guys, drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. So I'm so happy that he's found something that he's actually passionate about, that he can actually pour time, energy, and effort that he was like he would do in the football field in that venture. A lot of guys don't have that opportunity to do that. He got some good people around him, and I hope it works. I hope it works out for the best for him. But there's a greater chance that he won't play football ever again than there is that he will. I'm not saying that he won't. I'm saying the percentage that he won't play football again is higher than the percentage of him actually playing football.
Yeah, because that was kind of like one of my things too, and I was like always hoping in the back of my mind, like I hope Dez is not setting himself up where he's so motivated to only play for the Cowboys. So when you don't get that number from the Cowboys, it's like nothing. And Jesse, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I believe that there should be a therapy for guys who don't make the NFL in period, because like I know the story of my little brother. Like my little brother, left tackle, went to UCLA, bounced UCLA, went to university, and went to D2 at Arizona Western out there in Arizona. Ended up graduating from Midwestern State. Had a bunch of pro days. At 25, didn't work, right? But it's like when it didn't work out with football, like he did not really know any direction in where he was going to go in his life. You know what I'm saying? And I remember a conversation, and it's like, I ain't trying to go super duper extreme, but it's like, I could see how, if people don't understand football players, like, yes, you succeed on such a grand stage, but when you don't make it, you fail on such a grand stage. Why? Because the NFL season continues, and now you're no longer in football. You're not in college football. You're just in limbo. And it's like, Go ahead.
No. I would say this, and your brother had an opportunity to do something that most people don't get a chance to go and do. And there are so many resources, not from the, as well as the NFL. When I got to the University of North Carolina, when I got to UNC, there was a plan that I had. See, most people go into this thing and they're so one-track minded that you miss the resources. I knew that football, I knew, like, even if it did last 10, 15, 20 years, it was going to end. I knew that. And I knew that I had to have something. You always hear the fall back on something. Like, that's a real thing that people don't take. And you can ask, her name is Cricket Lane. You can ask Cricket Lane this. This is the honest to God truth. The first meeting she ever had with me, she was our academic overseer. And I remember she asked each one of us, all the incoming freshmen, she said, I know that all of you sit in this room and all of you want to go to the National Football League, but it's not going to happen. What else do you want to do? And she went around the room, asked everybody, and she got to me. And I told her, I said, well, Miss Cricket, I'm going to the league. There is no plan B. She said, I hope that you're right. But in the event that there isn't, that you aren't right, what else do you want to do? So I then began to prepare myself. I got a degree in communications. I went and honed my skills up while I was in school on the areas of media, of speaking, of talking, of doing all of those things. I asked questions. I went and saw people because I didn't want to wait till I was finished to start. And I tell all the young guys this right now. I told Ricky this last week. You're never going to be as hot as you are right now because we don't know what tomorrow happens. We don't know. But when you're at a UCLA, when you're at a Dallas Cowboys, you're at such a prestigious university that people want to be associated with you. So if you don't go in and use what you have to your advantage, because when you walk into a place, especially in that Compton area, and you say, I'm a UCLA Bruin, there's somebody in the field of what you may be interested in who's a UCLA Bruin and who will be willing to take your phone call and take your meeting and return your email and return your text because they are a UCLA Bruin. But a lot of times, dudes don't take advantage of those opportunities. When you get into the league, there is no greater, man, you put that star on, you can walk into any place and people want to be associated with you because you have the star on. I tell guys all the time, if you want to learn about money and stop having to pay a financial advisor, go see a financial advisor and tell him that you want to sit down and learn the business and that you'll put some money in there, but only after he teaches you or she teaches you what she knows. They'll do it. How do I know? Because I did it. I walked into a bank and I said, I want to put money in this bank. I want to put some things in some certain things, but I ain't doing it until I find somebody that's going to teach me what they know. He's my friend till this day. His name is Ron Matea. Okay. And we met every single Tuesday for like 6 weeks. And he explained to me, not because I was just some random dude off the street, because I came in there with the star on my helmet. So yes, you would like to have more. There are programs. You have to take advantage of them. And the biggest problem that we have with athletes, especially athletes of color, we have this notion that we have to put all our eggs in this one basket and it's go hard or go home. And that ain't realistic, brother. Because even if you play 10 years in the league, that only leaves you at 30 something years old. The average man lives to 75. And when you add kids and you add a wife and you add a mortgage and you had car payments, and you ain't done nothing else in your life, if you ain't hit that big $100 million guaranteed deal, which most of us don't, if you ain't hit that big deal, you got 40 more years that you have to figure out how that $1 million that you made in 10 years gonna work for you. That is the biggest thing. So when you go to school, you know, I get it. Some dudes are just destined to do it. And it's different for every sport, right? Like Zion knew that he was, in a year, he was going to make $100 million. Everybody ain't Zion. So for every one Zion, there's 100, 200, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 of guys who don't. So if you at UCLA, if you at North Carolina, if you at San Jose State, if you at whatever Midwestern state, whatever you're at, you have to use the entire gamut of resources that you have there to better yourself, because no one's going to take care of you better than you. When they're done with you, they're done with you. You come in for a purpose. I gave you a scholarship because I'm going to use you. And the moment that they're done with you, the next guy comes in. A recruiting coordinator, my recruiting coordinator, and Will McClay told me the same thing. My job is to recruit someone better than you. Because that's how I continue to feed my family. If I recruit you and you're the last one that I recruit, in 4 years, you're gone. And if I don't have someone in to replace you, I'm gone. So I'm going to try to find someone to replace you, because that allows me to keep my job. So that it's on me, it's on Jesse Holley to, one, understand that, to two, make his job damn hard to replace me, but also use them too. Use UNC, use UCLA, use the Dallas Cowboys, use the Arizona Cardinals, use the University of Arizona, use Midwestern State. Whatever situation that you're in, there's a wealth of resources that you may have there. You have to, the player, us, we have to use them to our advantage and stop letting people use us up. And then when they're done with us, kick us to the curb. And all we had to say was, in high school, I was the man, homie. Because that don't put milk on the table. In college, I was the man, homie. That don't put milk on the table. That don't pay that credit card bill. You have opportunities. Use them to your advantage, whether you're a college guy or a pro guy. No matter what school you go to, no matter what town that school is in, there's somebody affiliated with it that is in your field. It is your responsibility to do it.
Well, shoot, man, we've been on here for 2 hours, man. We've been kicking straight facts and fire, man. And I'm gonna be honest.
That's what we do, man. Y'all the homies. What's up? Let's say what we do, man. I'm
gonna tell you, man. You said something earlier. You said something earlier that was about success, about giving God the glory, and you know what I'm saying, and just man, I received. I'm gonna just let you know that I received that, brother. Like I received that conviction, and that was definitely for me, man. So if I know I got some out of it, man. We got 162 people on here watching right now. I know they got something out of it.
And I'll say this one last thing in closing, just about life and success and all of that stuff. I heard a word from Michael Todd. Shout out to Michael Todd, and it talked about these lists. See, what happens is we start making up these lists, and on these lists, there's all these things. And if you're not a believer in God, that's sorry, I am, and that's where I speak from.
We are too.
Jesus Christ, that's where I speak from. And so we have these lists, right? And we start writing these things on this list. And it's, I want to have the biggest podcast, or I want to be this, I want to be that. We got this list, this long list of stuff, and none of it's co-signed by God. None of it. We haven't come to God about it. We haven't talked to him about it. He ain't stamped none of that. But we get frustrated because we have this list with these timetables and these things and this stuff. And I'm saying this because this was me. This was, and I'm talking about this was me recently, like 2 weeks ago. As I have these lists, and I'm like, man, I'm nice. I should be on I should have my own show. And I'm like, did I ever bring that to God? Like, did God ever stamp that I should have my own show? And so we get so caught up in this stuff of how we should have it and when we should have it by, and all these things that we have on this list. I should be driving this, or I should be living here. My family should be this or that. Or I should be making this as salary. We have this stuff on this list. And none of it's stamped by God, and none of it is really for our purpose, and none of it's really been designed and assigned to us. And a lot of it has to do with our egos and what we think. And there's nothing wrong with having. God has given us the ability to have ambition, to have goals, but does your list match his list? Because if they don't, you're wasting a lot of time, energy, and effort on this list that doesn't match his. And he's saying, if you just whip your list up and really just focus in and lock in on what I've called you to be, then the frustration, the disappointment, the anger, the bitterness, all of that will leave because you're lined up with my list. And when you keep chasing that list, you may actually reach some of those things on that list, but you'll never be fulfilled. And you'll always feel like you're chasing and you're going and you're going and you're going, and it never will end up to anything because you still have a list that I have for you to complete. So while you didn't want that detour to your list, you still got to come back and do mine. And what mine for you is way better than any list that you could have actually had for yourself. So while we're thinking about all these things about success and all that kind of other stuff, we have to remember, what list are you going off of? And has your list been certified? We all been in the hood. We all know there's some cats that's in the hood that's certified, that's stamped, right? An OG that stamped them, or somebody that stamped them, game that stamped them, whatever. We like, oh, nah, he's certified. Why? Because someone stamped him. And the person that stamped him, we all in that hood be like, nah, if he stamped you, you legit. Oh, he stamped you? You know what? I ain't fooling with that joker. That joker been stamped by so-and-so and so-and-so. So is your list stamped by God? Is your list, can God look at your list and be like, we good with that list? Yup, that's what I got for you too. Because if it's not, then you always gonna have the frustration, the bitterness, and you're gonna look around and you be like, man, I'm better than him, I'm better than her, I should be here, I should be there, my podcast should be doing these numbers, and I should be having this following, this, and that. And God is saying, that's what you think. Yeah. Have I stamped your list? So sometimes we gotta tear these lists up, right? And these expectations that aren't stamped by God, and just kind of try to, and that's what I'm trying to do with my life, is just trying to say, all right, God, what do you really have for Jesse Holley? Not for anybody else. What do you really have for me? And then be obedient enough to walk in it.
Do I have a witness here? And I really don't know what you're going through this morning.
And just, if there's any other podcaster that's watching this, if you think that you're going to have me on a podcast and I'm not going to talk about Jesus Christ, I'm not your guy. Yeah, I'm going to fit Christ in there some way, somehow. If you have me on for 10 minutes, I'm going to fit a way to talk about, I'm going to have a shirt on, I'm going to have a hat on, I'm going to have something on where you're going to know when you left Jesse Holley, that you're going to know that it was plain and clear that Christ is the center of his life. I ain't perfect. I'm not this holy than our saint. I sin, I fall short, I fail, but you're going to know if you spend any time around me where I stand on that matter.
So glad that I serve a God who has already fought my battle. Do I have a witness here?
Hey, listen to this one. I think this is good too for Jesse.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Hey, when the big homie come on, man, you just got to sit back game, man.
Yeah,
you know
man.
Like, for real,
I
think some of the biggest lessons I've learned is some of the biggest lessons I've learned, you know what I'm saying, just from, from older brothers, and even when, or my boy Nipsey, he said, but, we study, the reason why we make it is because we study Rich Blank's moves like it's homework, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when the OG come on and he bless your game, you know what I'm saying? Some of the time, the best thing you could just do is just listen and just, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to add to the conversation. I just want to get the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I appreciate you for coming on here tonight. And this will not be the last time. Man, this is.
And we all rocking. I got to tell the story. We're all rocking a Hot Boys hat. And I got to tell the story how I actually got my Hot Boy hat. We were at a post-game show.
Yep.
And you were there. And I was like, yo, where you get that hat from? Da, 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 da. And he's like, my homeboy made him back West Coast. Well, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And I was like, yo, I need that hat. And he was like, you want the hat? I was like, yo, I need the hat. I said, I'm gonna give you a shout out on Twitter. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna jump on your joint, but I need that hat. And like a solid brother, he took it off his head right then and there. And he gave it to me. And I was like, that's love. And I was like right on the peak of the whole Hot Boy stuff was coming out. Yeah. It was right on that. I was like, and you were like, bet. And you gave it to me. And I was like, bet. I remember I came back and Ari was like, did he give you his hat? I was like, yeah. He's like, That was cool. I'm like, I know, right? He gave me the hat. I was like, well, I appreciate that. I don't forget that. I remember. And every time I put my hat on, I'm like, man, you know, you took it right off your head, no hesitation. And he was like, you want it? I'm like, yeah. He was like, here. That's dope. So I appreciate that.
Hey, Jesse, I got a story too, real quick on the hot boy hat. Like, literally, this one is signed by D-Law. Because what happened was I was, you know, sitting there and, you know, he signed a couple of autographs and I had this hat on. And I turned around, I said, man, this might be the only time I ever meet you. And they was like, nah. And Tank said, nah, man, I got you. You know what I mean? He called me back and he, you know, he signed it. And then I saw him at SportsCon when we talked with you. And when I ran into him, he said, boss, where the hat? You know, and I said, man, I got it in the glass case. You can ask everybody. I never put on the hat until I saw you have the hat. Because I usually keep the hat, you know, just, you know, like it's, you know, because it's special, man. I think that man could probably be Hall of Famer one day. So, yeah, we all got our hot boy stories, man. That's a real cool one.
Absolutely. So I still rock mine faithfully. I appreciate that.
I appreciate, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, you know, before that situation, you had already given me a little interview. So it's like, you know, I don't know if you probably didn't connect it, but it's like, you know, I'm always about relationship building. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that, you know, when you connect, you know, Jay-Z, you know, I'm in that song, The Pound Cake, we was talking about the other day. And Jay-Z says in his song, he said one of his little homies said it's not enough real ones, and Jay says, "Oh, there's enough. There's just enough of us." You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, when you link up, when you get that vibe with someone, you gotta drop an anchor in there. And I said, you know what, man, like this is an anchor. You know what I'm saying? This is an opportunity, and you know, man, this was a couple years back, so I was everything to me. Just you coming up and just acknowledging was an opportunity. So. I mean, I was just double grateful, man. I try to live in that. My mom, like my mom always says, like live in that gratefulness. You know what I'm saying? I'm always grateful. So, you know, I was extremely grateful you coming on today, man.
And just real quick, Jesse, man, you earned a lot of love, man. I'm looking at some of the comments, man. My boy Reggie P said, I got a list of favorite people, and you just went up quite a few notches, sir. He's talking about you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell
and
you.
And then one of my boys, Gerard Daniels, said, Christ is the Lord. You know, he said that's an ambassador talking about you. So, I mean, I'm glad people got to meet you, man. You know what I mean? Because I already knew you cool.
If it's just one, I'm good. Yeah. If it's just one, that's more than enough for me. So, but tell them thank you. I appreciate them, man. And yeah, I'm a real dude, man. You guys are real dudes. We're real people. And I want to see us win. I do. Yeah. I want to see us win because I know that there's talented people out there, and we don't necessarily always get the opportunity that we're supposed to get, and that's fine, you know, whatever. But again, win. That's it. Just understand. Find your purpose. Really find your purpose, and if that's what God has called you to do, then attack it. Attack it, man, and you'll have, and it may not, the road to success may not always look like the yellow brick road. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you get to your palace, you might have to go through a pit. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Before you get to your palace, you might have to go through a pit, and that's okay because everything that you're learning in that pit is preparing you for the palace. A lot of times people I always use the analogy between, you know, the stairs, the escalator, and the elevator. And those who take the elevator to get to the top, you don't understand what it means to really do it. And then you have those who kind of ease your way up on the escalator. But then those who took the stairs, those flights of steps, when you get to the top, you're battered, you're bruised, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're frustrated, you're hot, you're upset. But when you get there, there's a level of appreciation that even when you're at the top and things get a little bit shaky, you know how to handle adversity because you did it for 18 flights of steps. Yeah. See, the person who hit the button and went up the steps, went up the elevator, he or she doesn't understand how to handle adversity. They don't understand how to handle success. And there has to be a level of grit and knowledge and information that has to be attained throughout the process because success isn't going to be sustainable if you aren't able to get through the tough parts of it. Yeah. And that's why you see people head to the top and come right back down, or glide to the top and come right back down. Those who took those steps, and it wasn't always pretty. You had to go through that pit. You had to go through all that ugliness. That when you got to that palace, though, you understood how to sit on that throne at a much greater degree than anyone else that came before you. So everything that's going on in your life, man, if it ain't as you thought it would be, tear that list up and really lock into what God has called for you to do, man, and understand that the road to success ain't always going to be easy, but it's necessary. Yeah. There's so much value in the valley. There's so much value and information in the valley that's going to make the mountaintop so much better.
Man, preach.
I want to end it like this, man, with you, Jess. Matthew 12:11, it says, in the days of John the Baptist come until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. I love it. I love it. That means even if you want heaven, you got to take it aggressively.
Real quick, Jesse. Real quick, Jesse.
You got to take it aggressively.
Somebody asked,
hey, I'm done. I'm done,
Jesse. A podcast.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
All right, we're going to be in. See, this is the thing, Jesse. I got the best.
People try to figure out how to follow you now, man.
Yeah.
Lord,
hold up. I got the best producer in the game that's running this show, all the nicks and knacks. Later on, you're going to see how nice this came out. You know, how beautiful. It's all nice. We got the indoor pool, the outdoor pool. It looks nice up here, Jesse. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks nice, Jesse. Like, this is really nice. I like the way you did it. You know what I'm saying? But we got the best producer in the game, man. And, man, I'm going to tell you this right now, man. Man, I love T.O., but if it's a wide receiver who can talk, that's you. You need it. I love T.O., but that's one of my favorite players. But after 15 minutes, I'd be pissed off. Like, T.O., you gonna say something that's gonna piss me off. Like, why would you say that, T.O.? But I just I definitely feel that there is a place in the Cowboys talkosphere where there needs to be some consistent Jesse talk, because I think a good healthy segue between myself and the
they can follow me hanging with the boy, but man, yeah, they can follow me hanging with the boy.
Dallas.com.
Basically what I'm saying is we got to try to get Jesse on air. He got to be on
DallasCowboys.com. That's where you'll find it.
When it's my time, man, it'll happen. On our time, trust me. I've been in the meetings. I've been talked to the big networks. I've been sitting in the big meeting networks, and it ain't my time. It ain't my time, and that's okay. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the place that I'm in. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm content. I'm content in where I'm at, but I'm not content in the drive to get where I'm going. It'll come, man, and I don't worry about that. I used to have those times like, man, I'm 36. I should be doing this and this and this and this. And I'll be like, yo, some people just don't hit it till they 50. That's cool.
I won't call you OG no more. I'm 37, bro.
That's okay. That's okay.
You got more hair on your face though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But no, it's just I'm okay. Like it's when it's time for me, for it to happen, it's gonna happen. And you know, God gonna give me back what the locust took away. So if it happens at 40 or it happens at 45, my success might be more. It might be like, you know, I could have started you at 36 and then you could have been nothing at 45. I could start you at 45 and you be the biggest thing by 46 years old. I don't know. I'm good. I'm good.
And then think about this before we get out of here. Under the media salary cap, Tony Romo just put it up to like 18 million, and the pay there. You want to sign after them dudes anyway, Jesse. Like, you don't want to sign. You know what I'm saying? You want Peyton to come in here and get 18 million. So when Jesse hit that market, Jesse can at least get up in there. You know what I'm saying?
When I look back over my life, man, there is absolutely nothing that is impossible. Like, I've literally done the impossible multiple times. You'd be like, he did what? He did what? He did what? And I'm not supposed to be here sitting here talking to y'all. I told y'all earlier, I'm supposed to be somebody like dead or in jail. And that ain't what God. That ain't it. So I've seen going from being homeless to an NFL player in 6 months, literally, literally going from being homeless on an NFL roster in 6 months. So people can't. I've literally seen doors being shut one day and then swung wide open the next day. I'm like, how did that happen? I don't stress none of that, man. Like that is really who I am. Like, I don't stress. I try to keep worrying to a very minimal. I'm just like, man, what's for me is for me. Like, nobody can touch that. Now, that is mine. I gotta just do better in walking in obedience to get to it. Yeah. That's why I fumble at. I'm like, all right, God, let me
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta just make sure I'm right.
Just
and
I
walking in
gotta
obedience.
I gotta
Good.
let you go, but I got a couple of my scout ladies, man, because you know you got all your teeth, you got a job. You know what I'm saying? You look like
see,
you paid. But so I need a couple of my scout ladies want to do. They asking me, can you put your hands up like this, Jesse?
I keep that part of the life very private. See,
They just want to know, can you do this, Jesse? Can you just put your hands up like this?
I keep that part of my life very private. There's some things that I don't give to I don't give everything. You can talk to me for 3 hours, and it's something you just won't never know. I keep
Jesse ain't putting his hand on the window. He said he's not putting his hand on the window on the camera.
So,
I'm just saying, come on, they my supporters. I gotta ask, Jess.
Enjoy. I have all my teeth, and when I get a shape up, I look way better.
I'm just saying, a man with a good job, with a car and all his teeth, that's a hot commodity in 2020. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jess, I appreciate you, man. OG, I appreciate you so much, man. I call you OG because of knowledge, man. Who cares about the age, man? The wealth of knowledge is definitely there.
All right, man. Hey, here we go.
I appreciate you, Jess.
Been working on it. Been working on it. I see you. I see you, big bro. hey, we know this. We know.
Yeah.
Just said salute, double salute. All right, Jess, I appreciate you, brother, and we will continue to follow you on multiple social platforms, and we look forward to hearing you. Honestly, I look forward to speaking with you again after all this thing gets started.
Slows down.
Camp. I want to know after everything taken care, kind of like a heat check. What are your thoughts now?
Training camp. Let's do it. That'll be a good barometer right there to kind of start talking about what I see.
Absolutely. Hey, well, you have yourself a blessed day, and I continue on your grind, man. And I appreciate you for coming on here today, man.
Always, fellas. Win.
Hey, man, that was absolutely an amazing interview. Just real quick wrap up, Boss Cowboy. What was one take from the interview? I'll do mine. We'll get up out of here.
You go first. I need to actually think.
My take on Jesse Holley is, for one, he's down with the scouts, the way he thinks, you know what I'm saying? Meaning serious Cowboy fans out to uncover truth. He's definitely one of us. I like that. That means he will forever be, a good source of wealth of information. I love that. I love the, something else that I learned from Jesse Holley is that, we had to get rid of Jason Garrett, man. Like, we had to. Like, whether he was the problem or not the problem, he had to go.
You can question everybody but Jesse when it comes to the case against Jason Garrett, because he's extremely balanced. He's extremely articulate, because everybody else, you can kind of pick at him. You can say, I don't know about that guy. I don't know about the guy that said Jason Garrett doesn't like black guys, like weird comments. See, Jesse's not going to say anything like that. He's going to only make the case on pure football. So excellent point on just that. And I would also say with Jesse, I don't know why, but I just got to go back to, man, I just appreciate the genuineness in Jesse, right? And I'm just glad that we got a chance to showcase it, because, and that was a sincere story. And that's why I sat back and just let you continue to ask those questions, because I just wanted to reflect on what happened with me and how he always, whenever I run into him, treats me like I'm a friend or a brother, and we met really like once, until we had this interview again today. So just the genuineness about him, that's the type of person that, whether you agree or not, he's telling you what he authentically feels, and he really analyzed it. So I would call him one of the last of the Mohicans, to where he has a judgment, to where he's going to think it through. You might not agree with it, but you notice that he gave it much thought. Yeah, and I like the fact that like my boy Jesse clocked in and went to work. Like, he wasn't trying to ooey out. Like, he wasn't trying to do none of that. Like, Jesse clocked in and went to work. And I like that. Like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. You saw me pull back because I start feeling like, man, you've been here a while, so I just got quiet. But then at the end, he said, man, I'm here to talk. I said, my bad. I should have been like West Coast, because you kept going. And that obviously show you know him, because you just kept going. Because now I know when he come back, he want to talk football. So I'm going to be more assertive next time. And I'm going to tell you guys something else, too, that
that you guys don't even know, but we have a production meeting, you know, about an hour before the show starts. We middle of our meeting, we're talking about what we're gonna do and what we're not gonna do. And Jesse Holley bleeps in the middle of the meeting, like, yo, what's up, guys? Y'all ready to do the show? I'm like, bruh, we still got like 20 minutes. He's like, all right, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just, you know what I'm saying? All right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all do da. And then literally, he just start talking, literally just start talking to, you know what I'm saying? Just going into different things. Like, when we were counting down this show, he was in the middle of a story. I had to literally pause him and I said, Jess, we got 15 minutes, 15 seconds. He's all right, let's go. He just stopped the story. He said, actually, you know, run it back to me, you know, later on. But it's like, man, I just feel that I feel that Jesse Holley going to training camp, especially if we're going to be able to see limited football, is going to be such an asset to us. Why? Because we know for a fact he is going to tell it how he sees it. We're not going to have to be able to be like, oh, is Jesse just trying to sell something? No, we're going to know, like, for real, if he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get a real.
What he's seeing.
What he's seeing. And now, be honest with you, that's better than West Coast, because at the end of the day, I can't go to Dallas. If they come to California, I'm on it. But Jesse going to be there every day at Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said the next time I talk to you, I want it to be, I don't even want it to be at the beginning of training camp. Next time I talk to Jesse Holley, I want it to be like week 3 of preseason. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. I want week 3. Who's making this team, Jesse? Who's not? You know what I'm saying? That's the conversation I want to have with him. And just let him, and just get all that real. You know what I'm saying? Because that's gonna help me with my decision on going into 2020 on what this team is really about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna see Jesse at some point at training camp, because I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, I appreciate you guys. We've been on here for 2 hours, man. Hey, our producer's starting to hit that light in the back, you know what I'm saying? But we appreciate you guys. But hey, you guys already know what it is, man. Never look down, because the stars up. Peace.